The movie opens by showing a female prisoner named Arlen, who is marked with the serial number 5040th under her ear. She is then banished to a desert beyond Texas, where individuals labeled as unfit by the government, also known as the Bad Batch, must survive on their own. There is also a sign that declares the area to be considered property outside the US, and that American laws no longer apply. The prisoners are only provided with some basic supplies, such as one loaf of bread and a bottle of drinking water. Following this, Arlen begins walking aimlessly along the desert until she finds an abandoned car. She then gets inside and realizes that it doesn't work, so she decides to rest and puts on some makeup. Later, while she is looking at a picture with her boyfriend, she suddenly realizes there are two people approaching in a golf cart. She sees them in the mirror and begins running away in panic, but unfortunately, she is captured by these people, who knock her out and drag her away from there. Sometime later, Arlen finds herself chained and begins to panic right when her captors show up. The poor woman can't even scream as her mouth is also gagged. A man injects anesthetic into one of Arlen's hands, after which a woman begins to brutally cut it off using a hacksaw. Arlen begins screaming in terror and begs for mercy, but to no avail. In a shocking twist, we learn that these people are cannibals who kidnap anyone they can find and eat them. Arlen ends up passing out due to blood loss, so the woman uses a steaming hot iron pan to sear Arlen's limb to keep her from bleeding to death. Later, when Arlen wakes up, she finds herself still tied to the chains and is horrified to see that, along with one hand, one of her legs is also missing. In the following days, Arlen remains restrained, and the cannibals continue amputating her body parts one by one, including portions of her hips. She also hears other voices outside and realizes they are constantly bringing in new victims. She realizes that she cannot die like this, so she comes up with an escape plan. One day, Arlen defecates everywhere and covers herself with her own feces. Upon seeing this, one of the cannibal women is disgusted. "I hate that seasoning." So she unchains Arlen and proceeds to clean her up. While the woman is distracted, Arlen notices a crowbar lying nearby, so she immediately attacks her captor and manages to kill her. She then drags herself as fast as she can to escape, while hiding from the other cannibals, but she cannot go far because of her missing limbs. Fortunately, she comes across a skateboard and immediately uses it to help her move. After moving for a while, Arlen has to stop because she begins experiencing severe dehydration under the scorching heat. She can't bring herself to move any further and believes she is going to die, but fortunately for her, a hermit comes to her rescue. He places her in his trash cart and wheels her away from there. After some time, they arrive at a settlement called Comfort, where the hermit drops off Arlen and leaves. Arlen is then greeted by several other residents of the settlement who feel bad for her condition and rush to help her. They seem to be normal people who are not cannibals and welcome her to the settlement. The scene then cuts to 5 months later, where we see that Arlen's condition has significantly improved, hasn't regrown any of her limbs though, and she has started a new life in Comfort. She has been given a prosthetic leg which allows her to walk normally. Furthermore, life in this place is stable as she has food, shelter, and the ability to earn her own income, unlike in the desert where people have to fight for everything. However, she is still furious at the cannibals who mutilated her and vows to take her revenge. The scene then cuts to a group of muscular men where we see the leader of the cannibals, who is called Miami Man. He is a very ruthless killer, but despite everything, he loves his daughter, named Honey, who is the joy of his life. Furthermore, Miami Man seems to be very good at sketching, and he often draws sketches of his daughter's face. After spending some time with her, he goes to see his victim, who begs him not to kill her and asks for mercy, but Miami Man does not listen to her pleas and begins brutally cutting her apart. Afterward, he cooks the human meat with his partner Maria, and the couple enjoys the meal together. Maria seems tired of abducting and cooking people. The next day, Arlen is seen looking at a magazine where she cuts out a picture of a girl's arm and places it against herself, reflecting on the time when she was whole. This makes her very sad, so she loads a gun and leaves Comfort to venture out into the desert. Not far away, we see Maria and her daughter Honey, who are going through a garbage dump in search of something useful. Maria then injures her leg on a sharp object in the trash, which causes her to scream in pain. Arlen, on the other hand, comes across a golf cart similar to the one she was picked up by the cannibals in, and realizes her captors are nearby. Moments later, Arlen finds the mother and daughter and immediately recognizes Maria, who was one of her captors. She holds the woman at gunpoint and begins accusing her of being responsible for her condition. Maria apologizes, but tries to justify herself by saying that they were only doing it for survival, and that she and Arlen are the same, just people trying to stay alive. However, Arlen declares that they are not the same and brutally shoots Maria in the head, which shocks Honey. Afterward, Arlen feels bad for the little girl, so she decides to take her back to Comfort. While they are leaving, they are noticed by the same hermit from before. Sometime later, Arlen and Honey arrive at Comfort, where the little girl is scared of so many strangers and doesn't talk much. She is interested in a bunny, so she buys one and keeps it as her pet. Arlen then asks her what her name is and if the cannibals kidnapped her, but Honey doesn't say anything. In another scene, we see Miami Man, who is worried that Maria and their daughter have not arrived home yet. He thus sets out to find them and soon comes across the garbage dump, where he is stunned to find Maria's dead body. He cannot find Honey anywhere, so he comes across the hermit and shows him Honey's sketch, asking if he has seen her. The hermit implies that he has, but he asks Miami Man to sketch him in exchange for the information. Desperate, Miami Man agrees and begins sketching the hermit, who excitedly poses for the image. After it is done, the hermit is very happy, smoking, and reveals that Honey will be found in Comfort. Elsewhere, we see Arlen still trying to bond with Honey, and at night, they walk through the market and come across a huge party. The two go inside, where the leader of the Comfort community, called the Dream, appears, which excites the residents. He gives a moving speech, and it turns out the people here respect him a lot for the life he has provided them. After this, a young girl begins handing out recreational drugs to everyone, which Arlen also decides to take, and soon becomes high. During the party, Honey becomes separated from Arlen, and soon her bunny runs away from her grasp. While trying to catch it, Honey accidentally comes across Dream and a pregnant young woman. Dream seems fascinated by the little girl and invites invites her to his luxurious place, to which she agrees. Dream and the pregnant woman then lead Honey inside, while Arlen is busy having fun and getting high. Shortly after, Arlen notices Honey's disappearance and begins to panic, so she asks all the people about her, but to no avail. However, she is still too high, so she unintentionally exits comfort and begins venturing out into the desert. After walking for a long time, she unexpectedly comes across Miami Man and doesn't realize that he is the same captor who mutilated her. She begins chatting with him non-stop and even hugs him, while the man does nothing but just stare in silence. The next morning, Arlen wakes up in the middle of the desert and is stunned to see her prosthetic leg missing. Moments later, Miami Man shows up with her leg and informs her that she is far from comfort and that without her leg, it is impossible for her to get there. He then shows her the picture of Honey and asks if she has seen her, but Arlen says no. However, Miami Man does not believe her and demands that she take him to comfort, where she will go inside and bring back the little girl. He threatens that if she fails to find the girl, he will not hesitate to kill her and eat her remaining body parts. This horrifies Arlen, so she reluctantly agrees to help him. However, before they can leave, another cannibal guy appears on a motorcycle and offers petrol to Miami Man in exchange for the girl. Miami Man is hesitant, but after some consideration, he agrees to give up Arlen. The cannibal then proceeds to take her away, while Arlen begs and cries for mercy. Then, in a shocking twist, Miami Man suddenly turns around and throws a knife that hits the cannibal man's back. Before the man can do anything, Miami Man throws another butcher knife, which instantly kills the guy. Now Arlen and Miami Man have a motorcycle for their journey, and meat so they don't starve. Next, the two begin their journey, and along the way, Arlen has to pee, so they stop. During this, a huge sandstorm occurs that almost engulfs Arlen, so Miami Man rushes to help her. He then covers her with a large cloth to provide shelter from the storm, and Arlen is touched by the gesture. That night, the two settle down to rest, during which Miami Man begins nibbling on the dead man's arm. Arlen then asks him how he ended up being part of the Bad Batch, and he responds that it is because he is an illegal immigrant. He reveals how he came from Cuba to America at the age of 16 and used to work in Miami doing tattoos. An intrigued Arlen asks him to show his serial number, and when he obliges, she suddenly takes advantage of the moment to steal his knife. She threatens to kill him, saying how much she hates those who eat others to survive. However, Miami Man does not seem scared and tries to justify himself by saying he only kills people for his survival, since life in the desert is harsh. At this moment, suddenly a gunshot rings out, and Miami Man is shot in the chest. It turns out that the shot is from one of the Bad Batch who have managed to escape from a group of cannibals. The man then urges Arlen to get in his vehicle, and she is left conflicted about what to do. After some consideration, she decides to go with him, while Miami Man is left behind with his injuries. Sometime later, Arlen returns to comfort, where the guy with her reveals he is a new prisoner with serial number 5828. Arlen now resumes her normal life in the settlement, but she continues to worry about Miami Man and whether he survived. The following day, she feels very bad, so she returns to the desert to find him, but Miami Man is nowhere to be seen, and instead, she only finds his sketchbook. Elsewhere, we see that Miami Man is on the verge of death when he is fortunately found by the hermit. The kind hermit takes the injured man to his shelter. Boy, are you lucky I came out of retirement, where he tends to his gunshot wounds and even feeds him to help him regain his strength. Later, at home, Arlen looks at Miami Man's sketchbook and comes across Honey's images all over it, and she begins to worry for the little girl. She thus prints several missing posters of Honey and distributes them throughout the community while asking people if they've seen her, but they all say no. This leaves Arlen frustrated, but one day she shockingly sees several pregnant women leaving Dream's residence, along with none other than Honey. It turns out that Honey has been living with Dream all this time, and he has been pampering her with delicious food and luxurious facilities. It is also revealed that Dream keeps a harem of women for him to sleep with, and makes them wear t-shirts emblazoned with "The dream is inside you." That's, yeah. Back in the desert, Miami Man manages to regain his strength, so he thanks the hermit for everything and sets out to find his daughter. Elsewhere, Arlen decides to go to the Dream's luxurious residence to find Honey, and upon entering, she sees a large number of pregnant women. She then learns that Dream earns a lot of money to maintain his luxurious lifestyle by selling illegal drugs that are made by these women, but since there are no laws or regulations in the area, he cannot face any consequences for his actions. Moreover, he already provides a comfortable life for the prisoners, so they have no reason to rebel against him. Afterwards, Arlen approaches Dream, and the two begin chatting and getting to know each other. Dream notices that she doesn't like this place and asks what the reason is, but Arlen doesn't say anything. The man then reveals how Comfort's economy runs on drugs produced by his wives. He also states how he has built a plumbing system that prevents his people from living in their own filth. Dream is proud of the community he has built, which protects his people from cannibals. Arlen pretends to be impressed by this, after which she also offers to become one of his mistresses and to sleep with him. Dream is thrilled by her offer, so he asks one of the pregnant women to take Arlen and prepare a room for them. Next, Arlen is taken to a room where she is prepared for her intimate session with Dream. She then heads to the toilet to clean up, where she takes out a gun that was hidden in her prosthetic leg. Moments later, the pregnant woman arrives to check on her, during which Arlen shockingly points the gun at her belly. She then uses her as a hostage and demands that Dream give Honey back. Dream has no choice but to comply, but he says how disappointed he is in her actions. After reuniting with Honey and the bunny, Arlen leaves the community in a vehicle while still holding the pregnant woman hostage. However, after driving for a while, she finally lets the pregnant woman go, who then returns to Comfort. Sometime later, Arlen and the girl finally come across Miami Man, and Honey is excited to see her father and hugs him. The man is also overwhelmed to see his daughter safe and thanks Arlen before proceeding to head back to their shelter. However, Arlen stops him and asks him to take her as well, which he refuses. He states that the desert is no place for a woman and asks her to return to Comfort, but she states that she cannot do that now. Miami Man still hesitates, and when Arlen holds his hand and pleads with him, he finally seems to change his mind. Meanwhile, Honey starts getting agitated and claims that Dream used to feed her spaghetti all the time and that she wants it again. However, Miami Man has nothing to cook, so he takes the bunny and brutally kills it, while Arlen Arlen covers the little girl's eyes. In the final scene, we see the three of them around a campfire having a meal together like a new family, while Honey is still crying and grieving over the loss of her beloved pet.